Hello. Today, we are going to learn the poem Upagupta written by Rabindranath Tagore. Before we go to the poem, here are some quick facts about the poet. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the greatest modern poets of India. He was born in Bengal in 1861. Besides being a poet, he was a novelist, essayist and a dramatist. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1913 for his book Geetanjali. Now, I will give a brief introduction to the poem. This poem is about the story of Upagupta and Vasavdatta. Upagupta was a disciple of Lord Buddha. The word disciple here means a follower. Vasavdatta was a famous and beautiful dancing girl of Mathura. She was proud of her beauty, youth and her wealth. And Upagupta was an ascetic. Ascetic means a religious person who leads a simple life. He was an epitome of kindness, wisdom and selflessness. The poem starts with a dark night, when Vasavdatta stumbles over the body of Upagupta, who was sleeping on the dusty ground. Let's get into the poem, now. Upagupta, by Rabindranath Tagore. Upagupta, the disciple of Buddha, lay asleep on the dust by the city wall of Mathura. Lamps were all out, doors were all shut, and stars were all hidden by the murky sky of August. In this stanza, the word murky means dark. We will look at this stanza in detail. Upagupta, the disciple of Buddha, was sleeping on a dusty road of Mathura. It was a dark night in the month of August. The lamps were all off and doors were all closed. It was a cloudy sky and the stars were not visible. This stanza describes the simplicity of Upagupta. He was sleeping on a dusty road. This clearly describes how simple he was. Let us look at the next stanza. Whose feet were those tinkling with anklets, touching his breast of a sudden? He woke up startled, and the light from a woman's lamp struck his forgiving eyes. Some of the hard words in this stanza are as follows. Here, tinkling means making a pleasant metallic sound. Anklets mean an ornament worn around ankles. Here, startled means surprise, forgiving means excusing, and starred means shining. Now let us look at what the poet is trying to convey in the stanza we just saw. While Upagupta was sleeping, suddenly a woman's feet touched his chest. She wore shining anklets, which made tinkling sound. He woke up with extreme surprise. She held a lamp in her hands. The lamp's light fell on his forgiving eyes. He saw a woman there. Though Upagupta was disturbed, he was not angry. His eyes were filled with forgiveness. Moving on to the next stanza. It was the dancing girl, starred with jewels, wearing a pale blue mantle, drunk with the wine of her youth. She lowered her lamp and saw the young face austerely beautiful. There are a couple of interesting phrases in this stanza. When the poet writes drunk with the wine of her youth, he means that the woman was proud of her youth and beauty. The poet uses the phrase austerely beautiful to mean that the eyes were reflecting the beauty of the ascetic. Now let us look closely at stanza we just saw. In this stanza the poet tells us that the woman was a dancing girl. This dancing girl, Vasavdatta, was wearing a lot of jewelry and fashionable clothes. She also appeared very proud of her youth and beauty. We also see that the dancing girl lowers her lamp to get a clear view of the man sleeping. She saw a young and handsome ascetic. Let's now move on to the next stanza. Forgive me, young ascetic, said the woman, graciously come to my house. The dusty earth is not fit bed for you. The young ascetic answered, Woman, go on your way, when the time is ripe, I will come to you. Suddenly, the black night showed its teeth, in a flash of lightning. The storm growled, from the corner of the sky, and the woman trembled in fear of some unknown danger. In this stanza the word graciously means kindly. Two other interesting words used are growl and trembled. Growl means a long deep sound or a series of sounds. while trembled is used to mean shivering or shaking out of fear. Here, we saw that the woman apologized to Upagupta for stumbling upon him. Following that, she cordially invites him to visit her house. However, the ascetic politely refuses, and tells her that he would visit her at the right time. After this we see that the night weather changes to a frightening one. Lightning flashes appear and heavy wind makes Vasavdatta shiver out of fear. She felt that there might be some danger to her in the near future. Let us now see the next stanza. A year has not yet passed. It was evening of a day in April, in spring season. The branches of the wayside trees were full of blossom. Gay notes of the flute came floating in the warm spring air from afar. Upagupta passed through the city gates, and stood at the base of the rampart. Was that a woman lying at his feet in the shadow of the mango grove? In this cheerful stanza the poet mentions the phrase, full of blossom. By this he means that the trees were heavy with flowers. He talks of the rampart in this stanza. The rampart is a high wide wall of earth built around a castle, town, etc. Couple of other less used words in this stanza are afar and grove. Here afar means far away and grove means a group of trees. In this stanza, less than a year has went by after the incident between Upagupta and Vasavdatta. The month is April and season is spring. During the spring season, branches of the wayside trees and plants are full of flowers. Also the poet talks of a melodious note of flute that is heard from a far distance. In such a pleasant situation the poet notes that Upagupta was passing through the city gates and stood by the city wall. As he was standing there he felt somebody was lying near his feet and under the shadow of the mango trees. He was curious about who the woman was. Let us now see what happens in the next stanza. Struck with the black pestilence, her body spotted with sores of smallpox. She was hurriedly driven away from the town, to avoid her poisonous contagion. The ascetic sat by her side, took her head on his knees, and moistened her lips with water, and smeared her body with sandal balm. Who are you, merciful one? Asked the woman. The time, at last, has come to visit you, and I am here, replied the young ascetic. There are a few hard words that the poet has used in this stanza. Here the word struck means affected by. The poet uses the word black pestilence to refer to infectious diseases that spread quickly and kills a lot of people. And the word contagion means some disease that spreads by contact. Finally the poet uses the word smeared to mean that something was applied. The way we apply ointments to wounds. In this stanza, we see that Upagupta recognizes the woman lying at his feet as Vasavdatta. She was seriously ill with smallpox and had lot of sores on her body. Smallpox was a contagious disease, and the people of the town had driven her out, fearing that others in the town may get infected. Upagupta, who is known for his kindness, sat beside the ill Vasavdatta and placed her head on his knees. Since he saw that her lips were dry and sore, he tried easing the discomfort by moistening them. He also applied some sandal balm to her body. Ill Vasavdatta could not recognize the person helping her. She was surprised by the act of kindness and inquired who this person was. Upagupta tells her that he was person who she had met some time ago and had offered to take home. He tells her that the first time, the time was not right for him to meet her, but now it is. This poem has a beautiful theme. It shows that the greatness of a person lies in his or her deeds. One must practice the principle of simple living and high thinking in one's life. Physical beauty is short-lived and should not be a subject of pride. Only the good deeds of a person is remembered by the people even after his or her death. So, having read the poem, have you thought about the way you want to be remembered? The deeds you want to be known for? I shall leave you to ponder over those questions. Thanks for listening.